Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for Tuesday, the 4th of February. Starting off with AFC Energy, which for some people who are eagle-eyed, they might notice that the move here since November is actually almost exactly the same pattern as we've seen on Eurasia. The only difference is that within its rising trend channel from November, Eurasia is probably up around the equivalent of 30p, whereas AFC Energy is probably where Eurasia was on Friday. Need to break that November resistance line running through 22 pence, hopefully over the next day or two. End of day or end of week close above that should then unleash a move up towards that price channel top at 35 pence. And if you note, I suppose Eurasia is the equivalent of around 30 pence, or actually a bit more than that now on its scale. I think the shares are currently trading around 5 pence. Next stock is Conroy, which I noticed that some people were chatting about or have been tweeting about on Twitter over the last few days. Situation here is that we've got a breakout through the initial January resistance around, 9.5 pence. And while we're above that, looking for a new leg to the upside. Ideally, that would be up towards the top of a rising September trend channel that I've drawn. Just with the target heading just shy of 20 pence. This stage, really, one would expect no price action, ideally back below the 10 pence level ahead of the move to the upside. Another situation that catches the eye comes in the form of this one, which I'm just typing out at the moment. Condor Gold, we've got a triangle breakout here, which is very encouraging. It just happened this morning, so breaking 21.5 pence. End of day close above 21.5 pence should lead us up to at least 27 pence, which is the top of a rising trend channel from October, and obviously retests the September resistance area. The other plus points to note at the moment are the way that both the 50-day and 200-day moving averages are rising. And as I've said on countless occasions, the strongest part in the technical cycle is normally in the week or two leading up to a golden cross of that kind. So what we're looking for at the moment really is no break back below the 50-day moving average at 20.16 ahead of the upside scenario there at Condor Gold. Stock that I tipped or highlighted probably better, I think a week or so ago, was Dev Clever. I think I said at the time, after the break of that November resistance line at 1.2 pence, while we're above that, looking for a target towards 3 pence. We've gone some way there. I think the peak's been near 2.5, so a bit more on the upside to go there, and hopefully the stock will gather enough momentum over the next week or two to even touch the 200-day moving average at some point at 3.7 pence. Even if it gets a bit overbought after that. Looking on to a situation which again has been looked at it on Twitter, not the bulletin boards, is Greatland Energy. Here you can see the shares have bounced off the floor of a rising trend channel that can be drawn from back in August. I think the point to note here is the way that the shares have been above the 200-day line for, since August, for months in fact, but even before that. And even on dips for support, the stock has remained well above that 200-day line at 0.6 pence. The next thing to look out for now really is an end-of-day close above the 50-day moving average at 0.79. If we get that today, it could be the start of the journey back towards the highs of last year, or about this year, at 1.1 pence plus. There is a line of resistance, I suppose, one can draw from the beginning of the month. And on that basis, we've actually already at 0.77 and above, we've already broken that. Hence the reason for the inclusion of the stock today. Stop loss just back below 0.7 should cover it. Next situation is one which I have looked at recently, but it looks as though Goldplat is on its way again. Just in that trading in the aftermath of a golden cross buy signal between the 50 and 200-day moving averages that was nominally coming in yesterday, and all we're looking for near term really is a break of that resistance line from the middle of last month around the 5.5 pence level. Break that on an end of day close basis, and the shares could deliver the next leg to the upside, which would be to the top of a broadening triangle rather, heading for 8 pence, and that could be hit as soon as the end of next month. Worth following up on Greatland Gold, just because it's having a good day at the moment. Looks like it's going to break into new near-term high territory. The view at the moment really is while we're above today's intraday support, so that's about 3.35. We're looking for 4.3, which would be that resistance line there from way back in 2017. So a little bit more on the upside, it would appear, at Greatland Gold. On to a stock which I highlighted for the first time in recent times as a possible recovery, and we've seen how Care Group has done well in that respect. Stock breaking that line there from October around the 90 pence level, and holding that very well. This current situation is we're looking for the initial target at £1.10, which is the top of a November trend channel. Breaking that, we could be up into the area of the 200-day line and the top of an October trend channel between 135 and 150. So plenty to look forward to there. Stop loss at the moment back below that old mid-January peak at 90 pence, if you can afford that kind of percentage stop loss. Finishing off with Rockfire, and here we can see that the stock has broken out. Well, there was a trend line break there in the middle of last month, but the stock has broken out of a triangle that you can draw from the end of November. And so that's breakout level normally around the 1.1 pence level. While we're above that, looking for a partial or even full retest of December's peak towards 2.3, 2.4. If we're cautious on the shares, maybe wait for an end of day close back above 1.3, which would just clear the rising 50-day moving average at 1.26. The fact that the 50-day line is rising is a near-term positive for the stock as well. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.